Okay, we are all set. Chair Watson.
All right, thank you. I'd like to now call the meeting to order. It's 1:32 p.m. and I'd like to start with public comments. If there are any members of the public that would like to make any comments, this is the time. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to item number 3, which is approval of the meeting minutes from the September 24th meeting. We have provided you all with the meeting minutes. Would anyone like to make a resolution to approve the minutes? Please unmute if you'd like to make a resolution.
I'll move to approve.
All right. I'll go ahead and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Abstentions?
Because I'm just going to abstain because unfortunately I believe I missed that last meeting, so apologies, folks.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, motion passes. All right, we're going to move on to the next item, and I'm going to go ahead and turn that over. There we go.
Yeah.
So please, everyone, make a note. Oh, Brian, if you wanted to go ahead and make that announcement.
Yeah, so in the meeting materials, we have the proposed dates for the 2026 regular quarterly meetings of the Joint Committee, March 19th, June 18th, September 17th, and December 17th for meetings from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. So there's a resolution on the table for the advisory board to review and approve these dates for 2026.
All right, thank you for that. So we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the schedule.
So moved. John Harity.
Thank you, John. Is there a second? Someone's got their hand raised.
Sorry to jump in. I just wanted to verify, did we get to coordinate with a deep and specifically Yesenia on these? I think we did, because I know last year we had some fun scheduling overlaps, and I think we're avoiding that this year, but I just wanted to verify before I could approve.
I think, Becca, so I know we coordinated with the chair, so Brenda here, but also in the Green Bank board meeting in October, which I think Joe was on, we reviewed and approved those there as well. But we'll double check. If we have to make revisions later, we'll just take a note of it and make any revisions.
I do believe I saw Jim's hand pop up too. He might know, if that's okay.
Yeah, he just lowered his hand.
I was just going to add that we did coordinate to make sure that the CTAC meetings and the Green Bank meetings were not happening at the same time. So we are safe there.
Miracles, you all are amazing. Thank you. So I could second if that's helpful, Brenda.
Thank you. Thank you for the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays or abstentions? All right, moving right along. Motion passes. All right, I'm going to now turn it over to Brian. Or actually, no, that's not Steve anymore, right? Is it Stacy
That's
or?
right. It'll be me. It'll be me for the Green Bank, and then Marissa will tee us off for the CNLM.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Cool. Okay, so just stepping back here in terms of the Green Bank process for review of its comprehensive plan, targets, and budget. We do that in the May timeframe through our Budget Operations and Compensation Committee, which John Harity on this call chairs. They make a recommendation to the board in June for the approval of the budget and target. Then in July, we come back, we make edits to the comprehensive plan subject to those targets, and the board reviews and approves the revisions to the comprehensive plan. We have a mid-year revision process that happens in January. Our team right now is looking at the budget and the targets, and will bring forward to the Budget Operations and Compensation Committee I think it's the second week of January, proposed revisions for the committee's consideration. And then those recommendations go to the board at the end of January. So that's just kind of a process point. So our comprehensive plan is really focused around our three programmatic areas. Our incentive programs, which are led by Sergio Carrillo, and that focuses on continuing the co-administration of the Energy Storage Solutions Program per Public Act 2153. I think today is a big day for the teams as they're awaiting, if they have not already received, the annual review final decision from PURA. So the teams are awaiting that, and we'll provide an update to the Green Bank Board in January in terms of that decision by PURA. Our financing programs team, which is led by Mackie Dykes. Mackie is on the call here. Oversees the implementation of a number of programs, including the Smart E-Loan, our Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, the Small Business Energy Advantage partnership we have with Eversource, and our Solar Map Plus program with a priority focus on the multifamily affordable housing market segment. So we're going to touch on a number of those programs here today in terms of updates. And then our environmental infrastructure programs, which is led by Lee Welpton. We're working to continue to build out our financing products for individuals through the Smart E-Loan, and for businesses and local nonprofits through CPACE, the ability for those tools to be used for resilience improvements, other environmental infrastructure improvements like water. Tomorrow, our board will be considering the Green Bank investments through CPACE, specifically for a resilience framework. And then we also have a bespoke open RFP, a program that we call Green Bank Capital Solutions, where we seek projects that meet the overall comprehensive plan policy targets for environmental infrastructure. For example, this past year, we invested in a thermal oxidizer for an organic waste to food facility called Bright Feeds to help reduce organic waste in the state, which is a big part of our overall waste stream. So we're looking at investments like that, somewhat similar to what we did in Quantum Biopower, for those of you who remember that facility, but just a different use of organic waste in this context. So that is like those are our foundational programs that our team implements and has targets towards on an annual basis. In addition to that, we have other priorities that we're working on. In support of 2225, we're working with DEEP to support the deployment of electric school buses in environmental justice communities. So I think we've got 2 or 3 communities on deck now for electric school buses being led by Branford. And we've got an accelerator program out there where we're helping municipalities and school districts understand the opportunities presented by electric school buses. Resilience is another area. Public Act 2533 specifically laid out beyond flood disclosures, which was a really important part of that act and planning for climate adaptation and resilience, were this resilience improvement district policy. I like to describe it as kind of like CPACE times 1,000, where you can put the benefit assessment structure on top of everything within a resilience improvement district to enable financing for clean energy, resilience projects, environmental infrastructure projects. Our team is on a pretty extensive look at how we can support resilience improvement districts. with the goal of obviously improving our resilience against the impacts of climate, while also trying to get the insurance industry to recognize the value of these types of investments by reducing premiums, for example. Federal tax credits, Mackie may mention this. I mean, we're all dealing with the end of tax credits in a number of different ways. So we're super focused on safe harboring a number of projects so that we can deliver those energy savings that we anticipate from all the projects we've been working on in our pipeline. And then lastly, in terms of how we're thinking about various responses to what's happening at the federal level with backing down on the ITC and other programs, going back to what we used to do a lot of, which is community engagement at the local level. So thinking about things like Solarize, what we did for solar in the context of other market segments, resilience, battery storage, just trying to think about how we can support those types of strategies alongside our Green Liberty Notes, which you all might know is a part of our SBEA partnership with Eversource. So not only are we sourcing capital from Amalgamated Bank to support that program, but we're also sourcing capital from the crowd, which is kind of everyday citizens who want to buy a small denomination, no less than $100 Green Liberty Note to support that program. We're going to be expanding that program to be project specific. So you could see, for example, a raise where everyday citizens in Connecticut and across the country can support electric school buses in a community, or solar and storage for a specific segment of the market. We want to build that capability to enable other investors to support these types of projects. So those are our additional priorities in our comp plan. So that's an overview of kind of where we are. But happy to take questions.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions for Brian on this? All right, let's move along. I think folks are getting ready for the holidays. So we're going to turn it over to Stacy or Marissa, correct?
Perfect. This will be Marissa.
Sounds great. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Marissa Westbrook from Avangrid. I'm joined also by Amy McLean-Sauls from our team. She is on the line, as well as Ricky Jordan from Eversource. Steve Bruno may be joining a bit late, but I don't believe he is here at this time. So we're going to cover just a brief update on where we are with plans and some adjustments, changes in the 2026 through our plan update. As you know, we have a 3-year plan that is filed on a 3-year basis, and each year we do an annual update within that 3-year planning cycle. We, on October 31st, filed our 2026 plan update, which is followed by a technical meeting that was held by DEEP on December 2nd. We also received a set of data requests that we are working through. There was a set portion of them that were due on December 5th, and a portion that are upcoming due this Friday. And based on that, DEEP will put forth a determination. There are just some notes of some of the, changes, adjustments that came through in our 2026 plan update. We have 2 new performance management goals in development for 2026. One is related to renter access to CLM programs, and another is looking at the priority of pairing, the objective of pairing heat pumps and weatherization. But some of the other major changes that are highlighted in this plan update are related to the HES and HES-IE redesign from what has been a 1-visit model for several years to a 1 or 2-visit model. So that adjustment has taken place in the plan update. We have also added in the comprehensive, we'll call it the Coordinated Comprehensive Initiative, which we actually have a few slides on that we're going to speak to. There's information on On that, it was a performance management metric in the last plan, and we've detailed out how we intend to approach that, working collaboratively with the Green Bank and other stakeholders. So we have a little bit more information on that coming up. And that is pretty much a high-level summary of the plan update process.
Marissa, a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You said from 1 visit to 2 visit model. What does that mean exactly?
Sure. There was almost a better part of a year-long redesign process that has occurred, or I should say a year-long stakeholder engagement process to look at redesigning the delivery model for HES and HES-IE. So within this plan, we outlined what that looks like, shifting from the 1 visit to the 2 visit model. Actually, I think Amy, who just came on video here, can speak to that in a little bit more detail, because the rollout of that is under development currently and underway. So I'll turn it over to Amy to answer that question.
Thanks, Marissa. Hi, everybody. So it's been a long day. It's a long process. I mean, there's been a lot of feedback given over the last, really more like 2 years, that we've been debating this kind of approach based on some feedback we've gotten through different evaluations and so on. So fast forward to where we are now, and the redesign is going to go from a 1 visit model to a 2 visit model for all of our IE program, of our IE customers, and mandatory 2 visit model for 2 to 4 unit buildings. It's just to allow there to be a little bit more of a slower pace of giving people opportunities to take on these different kinds of energy efficiency measures and so on, make sure that the education is being done well within the homes for those populations. But there's also going to be a voluntary or you can choice. You can either do a 1 visit or a 2 visit for market rate. So it's just trying to make sure that we're paying attention to all of the details that need to be given to all of the customers, so that they're getting everything they could possibly get and understand what they could be getting. Going over the kitchen table wrap up or the financing available and things along those lines. So this was feedback that we had been debating for a long time through many different meetings with all of the principals, the contractors. Contractors have their owners, and they have techs and so on. But we've been having these meetings for a while now. Becca, did you want to say something?
I just want to add that after you're done, Amy, I wanted to add sort of the deep perspective. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll wrap mine up by just saying that that's the crux of it, and I'll turn it. It's been a real process. We're planning on going live January 1st or 2nd, and this has been something that Deep has been very helpful with thinking through and wanting to have us do. So we're in that situation right now, and I'll turn it over to Becca.
Oh, thanks, Amy. And I just wanted to, I guess I'll try to make this very concrete for folks. When we say 1 visit versus 2 visit, the 1 visit, the technician went to the home and did some of the measures at the same time that they were assessing the home. So they did do some, like pipe wrap or maybe some air sealing and duct sealing or other things in that same visit. A 2 visit model will, technician will go out and just do the scope of work. So they will just be assessing the home, coming up with a full scope of work. And then the next visit, the 2nd visit, they will actually be starting to install all of those things. I will acknowledge that there's some tension here, right? On one hand, 1 visit models can provide efficiency for customers. But on the other hand, 1 visit models also don't always necessarily allow for as much QC of the proposed scope of work by the utilities, right? Because they're generating that scope of work and acting on it in that same visit. And We also have seen some, very significant data showing that there's so many health and safety barriers in a lot of these homes, that unfortunately, when technicians are going out and they were assuming they could get work done, they were, experiencing these health and safety barriers and not necessarily able to, do as much work as expected. So, we're hopeful that this two-visit approach will help to make, the experience, better for everybody. That said, DEEP is definitely requiring a lot of data collection as this change rolls out so that we can monitor over the course of 2026 and see whether it really is making things better or not. Because again, there's always pros and cons to every model. And so we're not 100% sure if this will fix everything or make it better for everybody. It might unearth other challenges that we then have to adjust for, but we're very hopeful that this will be a good step in the right direction. So hopefully that was helpful.
Very helpful, and I think that you're both right in that this is a step in the right direction. One visit sometimes isn't always enough. So thank you.
Yeah, one other thing though, this is Melissa. I think that the reason it's required for IE is because it's more in alignment with the WAP program and how that's conducted. They go out and do like just an audit and then come back and do all of the measures because of the way that program works. So because of the fact that we're using so much additional money to do that WAP stuff and braiding it with the SIE, hopefully this makes more sense. And is that right, Amy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, everything, I guess the problem with this topic is that there's just not one reason. There were like 5 that you just heard there, and there's probably 15 more. So I guess it's hard to sort of quantify it into how did we make this decision, because it really was over a period of 1 to 2 years that this has been debated. So, but I think you really do get the highlights with everything that Melissa and Becca just said, along with what I had added.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Thanks for that additional context. And, all of these changes, the HES and HES IE change that we just spoke about, other adjustments that we made in 2026, it's all with our key priorities still in mind, which is decarbonization, equitable access, and energy affordability. So anytime we are looking at program changes or adjustments to any of the work that we do, we are maintaining those 3 priorities, which we put forth in our original 3-year plan, and we are maintaining those through each of the annual update processes as well. So this slide is regarding a collaborative effort between the companies and the Green Bank, leveraging the Green Bank Smart E-Loan and working closely with them with all of you on the IR interest rate buy down. So we had identified that probably around mid-year, we were seeing a slower uptick than we had planned for in heat pumps. So we identified that around mid-year, started working very closely on some creative ideas on how we can drive participation in heat pump adoption. So the Green Bank team came to the table, and we talked through this option of an interest rate buy down. And we tried a buy down to the 2.99% initially. And then we adjusted that. I think we didn't see very much uptick at all from that initial effort, but it was a good, first stab at what might help to drive some volume. And it was then adjusted to, I believe, the 1.99 as well, right? Did it, or did we?
Well,
to 0.99. Sorry about that. Not 1.99. 0.99. Sorry about that. To the 0.99. And so I do believe we are starting to see some increase in volume through that effort, and we are now looking to continue that through January. So we really appreciate the collaborative effort with the team here on the line. I think that was a great creative marketing strategy here and we'll see what the uptick is by the end of January, and if we may or may not want to continue beyond that. Amy, did you have anything you wanted to add here?
Just some recent information. We've been working with Barbara Waters, as many of you know her. I think she works with you guys. She's wonderful. And so we right now know we have about 270,000 committed to the IRB. And if we hit 500K prior to January 31st. Steve and I have communicated with Barbara that we would be, we're going to be relooking at it and reviewing the best rate to use going past 131.
Excellent. Great. So really good progress there, and very grateful to the folks involved in making that happen. So thank you. The next few slides, I'm going to talk about a joint offering, which is we have woven this into our 2026 plan update. It was actually a requirement that was set forth in the original 3-year plan by October for the companies to design a program that would be a collaborative, coordinated effort that addresses both efficiency as well as solar and decarbonization through electrification. So how can we come up with an offering that is more of a joint, collaborative, and holistic approach to addressing both residential and C&I projects, leveraging all of these core offerings that we have. We embarked on a several-month, I'll call it a stakeholder engagement working group process, again, collaboratively here with the Green Bank team and others. We looked across at our solar programs within the companies and engaged key stakeholders internally from the solar teams. We've worked with the marketing teams and engaged folks from our marketing area. Storage was involved, heat pump and there was some dialogue around heat pump and other electrification efforts. So we wanted to drive a more comprehensive approach to looking at efficiency and sustainability holistically. So with that, we have a proposal of a pilot. And so what we're going to do here is offer a unified, comprehensive decarbonization audit and technical assistance. So we are designing a path for both residential and commercial that would be a decarbonization audit that will look at all of these end uses. We are looking to pilot this with 10 to 20 customers on the residential side in 2026 and roughly 10 customers on the C&I side. The C&I offering would be similar to a comprehensive building assessment or an engineering study that we have offered traditionally. This will kind of take that and build upon it and look a bit deeper at other types of upgrades in terms of electrification, storage, solar, and other areas. Similarly, we'll do the same on the residential side. We still have some work to do to lay out the kind of nuts and bolts of delivering this, but it was put forth as a plan in October, and we are working towards designing this for a pilot implementation in 2026. The pilot would run from 2026 to 2028, and we have a relatively small budget here. And that budget, it would leverage the incentives in our existing offerings, but this budget would be to coordinate the effort potentially with third parties that would support the assessment pieces of this.
That sounds fantastic. I did
yeah.
have a question about the previous slide. Sorry to make us go back, but and this may have been covered, but would it, outside of the Smarty loan, would a customer be able to swap their system with a heat pump and pay that back on bill? I do not believe there is an on-bill option for that. Amy, I see you're coming off mute there. Is that your, Amy, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. My little thingy was up and I realized. I don't know the answer to your question because it's never simple, as you know. And so I think that would be something that we would need to, investigate, talk through.
I would say with the exception of small B, if a heat pump is part of a small business project, there is on-bill financing on the small business side, and that it could be pulled into that a small business type of project that way. But I don't believe we've done that on the residential side. We had a heat loan that was on bill, but it was not utilized for heat pumps. And so I don't believe we've tried that mechanism for something like a heat pump technology. At least not since I've been.
Just kind of teeing John up for his Healthy Homes recommendations that he has.
Well, yes, I just had a question about, there's all these initiatives about providing more home construction and in Connecticut because there's not enough housing stock available, and I just wondered how much we can, is there an appetite within the legislature for including solar and possibly, and I know heat pumps are more expensive, but or geo heat pumps at least, in legislation to support new housing construction.
Could you further explain that? I'm not quite clear on what your question is.
So I'm just saying that I think that that legislatively, that the legislature seems to be looking at supporting new home construction because there's a feeling that there's not enough low-cost housing for people in the state. And I was wondering whether that construction could include advanced energy efficiencies like solar and heat pumps. And because why would we be building new homes supported by the state and not include those things?
That's a great point. We do have a comprehensive new construction program that is under Amy's purview as well. There's passive house initiative and other areas. So that might be the path that we would leverage to address something like that. We do have a new construction path here. Have we looked at solar specifically in the CLM programs? No, because that has a different funding mechanism. But my guess is something like a passive house or other pathways within our RNC program, kind of complementing the RNC is where solar would be, I think, a viable option to address your point, I believe. I see Becca's hand up. Did you want to add something to that from a deep perspective?
Yeah, actually. So yeah, thank you for raising that, John. I just wanted to point out that DEEP has started a working group with the Department of Housing and Connecticut Housing Finance Authority to explicitly talk about how to ensure that a lot of this affordable housing financing work can coordinate better with all of our energy programs, just to ensure that, again, any building that's sort of getting affordable housing financing from Connecticut ideally at least knows about and is expected to explore the energy efficiency programs and solar programs and others to try to improve their sort of capital stack for the buildings. And so that is happening, and the utility programs are obviously being factored into that. But that doesn't mean that we've solved it. But at least we're all now talking, which I think is a good step in the right direction. And then one other thing I just wanted to toss out there before I hand it over to Richard is we just had a contractor technical advisory committee meeting earlier this morning. And during that meeting, it was just raised by stakeholders that there's a lot of concern about renters and EJCs, environmental justice communities, not being able to participate in these programs as robustly as others. And so, especially in this pilot that's being proposed here, and even in the financing stuff that you were going over, just Marissa and Amy, as you walk through, do you mind also highlighting any focus or effort there to ensure that either renters or members of EJCs can participate in these things? That would be much appreciated on my end.
Yes, definitely. And I think as this pilot takes shape, we can kind of look at that and see if it makes sense to focus in that area more, right? In the EJC access area more. So I think there's more to come on the development and implementation here, but that could be an area that we look at more closely and maybe kind of not scale it, but within the 10 to 20 customers, we focus more there potentially. That's a good takeaway that we could take back to the group. I can, Richard is I'm sorry, I think I see your, yep, I do see your hand. Sorry. Did you have another question on this joint offering as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to, supplement your responses to John as well too. Is that as Marissa did indicate, the residential new construction program does have 3 tiers, and the top tier is a high performance home, basically ready for net zero. So while the CLNM programs don't provide funding for solar, the homes in that category have been designed and are ready to have solar installed as part of them and would make them net zero. So I think, we are in alignment, and we do have a focus on those high performance homes.
Great. And then one other pathway that I'll just chime in on, and it's kind of going back to my previous work before I came back into CLM. There's a multifamily affordable housing working group that had been established, and I apologize, I don't know if it's still ongoing, but that was related to solar in the multifamily affordable housing sector and designing the pathway and the processes for engaging multifamily affordable housing in solar. And as part of that, I know efficiency had come up in many of those conversations. So how we are approaching solar, but where does efficiency fit? And, we had a precursor on the residential programs to installing solar where there was an energy efficiency assessment requirement with a date boundary on the residential side. And they were looking at how that would translate on the multifamily side as well. So there are a lot of these different conversations happening around the integration of solar in new construction multifamily, and how it can also be paired with efficiency in various ways. So, and I haven't been involved in that in quite some time, so I don't know if it is still an ongoing working group and discussion, but that was, a year or two ago when I was involved.
I'll just let you know that it's still going on, and I know some people on this meeting are involved in it. So yeah, I'm glad you brought it up.
I see a couple more hands. Should I continue to move on, or if they're, I continue to move forward? Okay. Or
maybe answer. Yeah. Looks like we got John and Melissa.
Okay. Yep. I see John. Yes.
Okay. A couple things. One is if low income, if new housing construction, especially for lower moderate income people, is being built with the state support, I wondered if there'd been any discussion about shared solar as a way to address some of these energy concerns, because it would seem, if you're doing housing in clusters, that would be the smartest way to go about it. And secondly, I wondered whether there needs to be, or ought to be, or there's an appetite for a recommendation from this board to the legislature about energy efficiency and new housing construction that they may be considering supporting.
So I can chime in on that first point again, kind of putting my old previous role hat back on. There is a shared solar, but it doesn't kind of fit the way you've described it with maybe a new construction well, maybe it would multifamily housing setting, but there is a version of shared solar that does exist that the companies do administer. It entails large scale renewable energy. It doesn't have to be solar, but solar or other class 1 renewable energy sources. And the way that it is a shared, they do call it shared clean energy facilities. There is a sharing in a sense of the value from those large facilities in the form of bill credits. And so those are provided, and you become a subscriber into that facility, and then you receive bill credits. And there are different categories of customers that could receive bill credits. So there is a version of that does exist, but I'm not sure it's exactly maybe what you're thinking or what you're describing. So it may not meet exactly what you're describing, but there is a version of shared solar out there that the companies do administer. Hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you, Marissa. Are there any other questions?
And then, oh, I see one other hand. I think that's Melissa with a question.
Oh, not a question, but since there's talk about investing in housing and making sure it's energy efficient, I just wanted to point out that there's been a lot of lobbying happening to eliminate energy efficiency requirements from new housing, with the argument that any increase in the cost of housing or the complexity of housing, building housing, makes less affordable housing happen. And I think everybody on this call, like John, understands that if you're going to build new housing, you got to make it energy efficient because it's your one chance. And it's a lost opportunity otherwise. But there are much more powerful entities that are advocating for the other way and succeeding. So if we really care about energy efficient housing, we need to make a bigger stink and be the biggest voices in the room for the legislators to know that it's really important. So, John, if you're really passionate about it, you should, be contacting your legislators and making public comment and just, making a stink. So that's my 2 cents.
Great, thank you. Yes, I see John's hand. Yes, John.
Oh, in light of that, what about this board making a statement to legislators that this needs to be considered as a counterweight to what I assume are generally private interests? If I think it'd be especially important if if we're facing that kind of essentially a backward trend, which ultimately, I'm free to editorialize the way I want to. I'm a private individual, but it comes from, it comes straight out of Washington. This kind of ignoring of the issue of climate change and really wanting to go to the lowest common denominator, that maybe this is a time for us to take a position reminding the legislature of the reason why they ought to be investing in energy efficient housing.
John, I don't know if this board can lobby in that way. Brian, can you speak to that? Can you all hear me?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen it, and there's no precedence to it. But I feel like on the state side, and Becca, help me if I'm wrong, I feel like Commissioner Mascaro Bruno and her team and Nandini, at the Department of Housing, and Nandini at the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority are building into, if not have already built into, their incentive programs, preference towards energy efficient, resilient buildings. So administratively, programmatically, I feel like the housing agencies are there. In terms of policy advocacy, this committee's never done it.
Yeah, maybe I could jump in with at least from the Energy Efficiency Board statute wise, energy efficiency board members are not able to lobby or advocate when they're wearing their energy efficiency board hats. And so that would unfortunately include during these meetings. So I'll flag that for the efficiency board members. They've heard that spiel from Deep in their other meetings, so they know that. But I'll also flag for folks that I hear you, Brian. I think that's very true. We're trying to work very collaboratively with, again, the Department of Housing and CHAFA on these issues. That said, I do think those agencies are still needing to balance things, and you're seeing that they did, for example, change some of their point structures for efficiency at CHAFA, and I know some stakeholders are frustrated by those changes. So I'm not saying that there aren't opportunities or changes where people might be interested in weighing in, but I will flag for folks that at least the Energy Efficiency Board has some very clear rules about not being able to lobby or advocate while wearing that EEB hat.
Thank you, everyone. Marissa, did you want to continue on, or were you closing your presentation?
Sure. We have a couple more slides, actually.
Okay.
A few more slides to go. All right. And so this is just a bit more information on the coordinated effort, the coordinated program plan. We discussed kind of 4 areas of coordination with some efforts planned around communication across the customer, the contractor, and internal talking points. We've talked about the need to develop some coordinated marketing, coordinated materials that can promote cross-program awareness. We do some of that. For example, we have the HES, we call it a POD, print on demand. It's actually changing the name soon, but it used to be called a POD.
Yeah,
it's now called
the HEG, the Home Energy Guide.
Home Energy Guide. And that does a
Okay.
really nice job of cross-promoting information. So looking at expanding upon that and other types of marketing material where we have cross-program awareness. We've identified some opportunities for some targeted outreach. For example, on our solar programs, not our solar programs, on the programs that the solar programs that the companies run, as an example, on those applications, customers identify if they are anticipating sizing their solar to eventually install heat pumps or electric vehicles. So that could be a potential opportunity for us to go to that base of customers and projects and do some targeted outreach to them because they've already identified that they are interested in a more holistic approach, interested in more decarbonization. So that would be a great example of a targeted community of customers that we can do some targeted outreach to. Operationally, we've talked about expanding technical assistance, scoping studies, and engineering studies, and additionally looking at our contractor and vendor base and which of those contractors and vendors provide cross-program types of services. Some of the weatherization vendors also happen to install solar, as an example. Some may also install heat pumps. So kind of looking across those, identifying, and then also similarly on the C&I side, which engineering companies would do a more holistic approach in their offerings, getting in front of them, providing them some education, some marketing materials, and leveraging their expertise from an operational standpoint. And last but not least, on the financial side, in collaboration with the Green Bank, we were discussing looking at higher loan caps because we've identified that these types of projects could actually be quite expensive and they might occur over time, right? Someone probably in one shot is not going to pursue all of these measures at once. They may have a phased approach, but they may be costly projects. So we would be very interested in exploring higher loan caps as well, and certainly promoting other existing offerings like CPACE and our small business on loan financing. This was the last slide on this particular topic of the pilot. Are there any questions on this before we shift to the last topic, which is the dashboard update? I see a hand.
I'm gonna, this is John Harity. I'd just like to make one comment on the issue of our advocating before the legislature. I don't think that we need to advocate, but I do think that we're able to provide expertise to the legislature and give them good counsel as far as what we know, and that's a way of conveying some of these ideas to them. That might be not what we don't normally do, but I'd like people to think about our ability to do that. Thanks.
That sounds like advocacy with a small a.
Well, I mean, within the legislature, everything is there's a lot of stuff that is done that is done under one one description, but actually fits another description, and so there's opportunities.
I agree with you, John. And, I actually would like to talk with you offline about that. Perhaps there's something that we can do together on that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Great. If we could please move to the next slide. So the next two slides are going to cover an update on the energy efficiency dashboard. And I see Stacy just came on video here. I'll turn it over to Stacy.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thanks. Thank you, Marissa.
Stacy Sherwood, lead technical consultant to the Energy Efficiency Board. I'm going to cover the next two slides, although I see Steve's on, so he can certainly chime in if I missed something. As you all may be aware, we currently have two dashboards that convey some of the efforts of the CNLM programs. There's one dashboard specifically related to the energy efficiency programs themselves for CNLM. And then there's a municipal dashboard as well that provides information on CNLM, including heat pump data, but also covers solar installations, and that's by town. So what the companies have been working on over the past year have been creating a new dashboard. So combining these two dashboards that I just spoke about into one dashboard, and to elevate the information that's on there and to be in a better presentable way. So the company's been working with a company called Launch, which is creating the data analytics dashboard for Connecticut. They're also doing this in Massachusetts. So we've been somewhat leveraging some of that knowledge back and forth as the dashboards have been developed, and it'll be supported by Microsoft Fabric and Power BI. We're hoping that this new dashboard will be combined and enhanced transparencies in terms of the program reporting, especially on Connecticut's energy savings goals and greenhouse gas reduction goals. We're also hoping that we can perhaps use this information live at the Energy Efficiency Board meetings when we're reporting out on the energy savings on a quarterly basis. This project really commenced with developing the roadmaps and the wireframes of information that we'd like to see throughout the dashboard, and has commitments to ongoing maintenance and enhancements throughout the phases once the dashboard is launched. We're currently working on the data that's going into the dashboard, developing those dashboard views, and we're collecting feedback from stakeholders that have been participating in the process. That includes Energy Efficiency Board members and DEEP as well. Next slide. This slide here just kind of walks us through that project roadmap. So this project started back in May with phase one. And during those first 8 weeks, we really focused on an internal kickoff and sharing with stakeholders what it is that we hope to get out of the dashboard, what are kind of our dreams of things that we'd like to see come in the future, and how we're going to build that out. Launch has been working in phase two since July through now to build out those dashboards. And we're currently working to review those dashboards and get approval from both DEEP and the EEB before that dashboard is launched, which is planned for January 2026. And at that point, phase three will have ongoing maintenance. And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's also additional phases that are scheduled in there
Yes.
to address upcoming enhancements that we're looking for.
Yeah, for example, like we want extraction on all the measures that we install in customers' homes and businesses as well. So yeah, there's future phases as well.
Yeah, so really looking forward to what the dashboard looks like once it launches. And I think the company's been doing a great effort pulling all that information together and working with the launch team as well. Any questions on the dashboard? Awesome, thank you.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All right, we're going to turn it over to Mackie for the healthy housing update.
Great. Thank you, Chair Watson. This is Mackie Dykes at the Green Bank. I'm going to provide a quick update on our Solar Map Plus affordable multifamily efforts. I've got 2 slides here. And just as a reminder, our Solar Map Plus program helps, among other sectors, the affordable multifamily property owners access solar and storage. I think as was discussed earlier, these properties are eligible for the RES solar program, which requires a portion of the benefits to be shared with tenants. And in the case of master metered properties where there are no tenant electric bills to share the solar credits with, the tenant's benefit is in the form of an upgrade to the property, which in many cases in our portfolio is an energy efficiency upgrade. So we're able to combine and some of the work we were talking about earlier, we can realize here with those projects, and that we're doing a solar and an efficiency upgrade. We're also able to address the concern that was raised earlier about renters participating in ratepayer funded programs. This is not CNLM funded, but RES is funded through electric bills. So renters through this program are able to access the benefits of solar. We have 2 affordable multifamily portfolios that we're working on. This first one, this is the same slide I shared last time. We continue to make progress on these projects. We are scrambling for the end of the year, as Brian Garcia mentioned earlier, to make sure these projects are safe harbored to preserve the investment tax credit, which the One Big Beautiful Bill Act changed and began to phase out of. So we are making sure that we preserve the economics that you see here, which include an average of $363 per year for the tenants, making sure that those benefits can still be realized even with the changing policy climate. And the master meter properties are highlighted in, I guess, beige, maybe, light green. Juniper Hill is doing siding replacement. Federation Square is replacing windows. And then Congregate Housing is bringing in, pending approval, nursing services for the residents. Next slide. This is similar to a slide I showed last time, but we've been able to progress this portfolio a little bit. So now we have, whereas before it was just system size, we now have the number of units, and we have the tenant benefits that we're able to articulate. So it's a little larger portfolio in terms of how many tenants we're touching, but the average savings, as you can see, is slightly lower, but still, I think, a meaningful number. In terms of the efficiency upgrade or the upgrades here for the master meter properties, Highwood Gardens is still figuring out what they're going to do. It's a fairly small system and small amount of funding that can be provided for the upgrade. Mark Twain, they're also replacing windows. And then New Horizon Village, which as you can see, it's a very large project, 1.1 million and almost 1.2 million in improvement funding. They are going to be doing a kitchen replacements and overhauls. They're swapping in much more energy efficient appliances and remodeling them to make the units handicap accessible. And that's it for my update.
Are there any questions for Mackie? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to agenda item number 7. That would be the legislative session update, and I'll turn that over to James.
Thank you, Chair Watson. James DeSantos, Legislative Liaison for the Green Bank. This is probably the most difficult month of the year to do a legislative session update. I assume the March one will be a lot more informative, but I will say that the upcoming legislative session is a condensed one. It is a short session, begins in February. It is committee driven. It also happens to fall in a year where all the House and Senate members are up for re-election, as well as a gubernatorial election. So right now, the Connecticut Green Bank is not proactively pursuing any legislative action. It is expected it will be a reactive legislative session. I fully expect all the legislation dealing with public benefit charges from the 2025 legislative session to be reintroduced this year, and I expect the rhetoric to be at an all-time high on both sides due to the election cycle. So that's all I have for an update. I don't know if Brian Farnham would like to weigh in, or Brian Garcia.
James, what do you mean by the SBC being reintroduced? Like, what does that mean exactly?
Well, there were several pieces of legislation that were introduced in the 2025 legislative session. Senate Bill 647 came out of energy, and I forgot the other one that came out of finance. I think it was 1760. They dealt with funding mechanisms for the public benefit charge and removing it from ratepayer bills and either eliminating it, moving it to the state budget, or bonding for that instead. So I fully expect those proposals to be alive and well in the upcoming session.
Okay, thank you. We'll closely monitor that one.
Yes, as will we.
All right, item number 8. We're going to turn that over again to Marissa, Stacy, and Mackie. Or Steve Bruno, sorry.
Sure, I can take it. Thanks, everyone. Sorry I'm late. This is the process where Eversource, with the assistance of Green Bank and Amalgamated Bank, we sell small business loans. We actually first we enter contracts with customers for energy efficiency, and then we offer them loans, and then we take those loans on a quarterly basis and sell them back to Green Bank. And this process we're still super excited about, and we're in the process in December, last bullet on the end, for a sale. Ideally next week, $3.5 million, representing about 106 loans. And so collectively, you can see that we sold $4 million in March, another 3.5 in June, another 4.4 in September. So activity is still active, and we continually look to refine this program, look for opportunities to do different things, and look at different measures on an annual basis. But very excited about this program and to work with Green Bank. Mac, anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. So Mackie, do you want to go into? I'm sorry, not Mackie. Who's gonna provide the other updates, or are we all good there, Steve?
I don't know if we have anything else on these next couple.
Yeah, I think the residential, most of the collaboration is through the Smarty loan, which the company's touched on through the buy down collaboration. We are continuing to expand the lender base for Smarty. We're hoping to bring on 2 new lenders here in the near future. But yeah, I think the heat pump IRBs is the primary work together.
Okay. Bernie, did you still want to ask your question? I apologize for missing you earlier.
Thank you, Brendan. No, on the question I think John Harity brought up of clearly we cannot lobby, and I'm not proposing that, but on something where it's, I would call finance 101, where you can spend X dollars and have a lifetime cost, the operating cost of Y, or you can spend X plus the cost of extra efficiency and have a reduced operating cost, I think we would be in a position to say which of those, from a financial standpoint, makes the most sense. So it isn't lobbying. I wouldn't even call it advocacy. I would call it analytics, and I think it would inform any debate that was to happen, whether here or at the legislature. But I think you covered that pretty well.
Thank you. It's a very wise recommendation. Thank you, Bernie. At this point, I'd like to entertain any public comments.
I have one.
Okay.
This is Kathy Fay. I'm just, it's a comment or a question about the pilot that Marissa and Amy were talking about. And I was just wondering, is that right now intended to be implemented by some HES contractors, or how does the implementation side of that look?
I think that's still to be determined. We still have a lot of details to work through on the implementation of it, but there's been some discussion about having kind of a central sort of clearinghouse or a vendor that could do an assessment and identify these opportunities. It may or may not be an existing HES vendor. I think there's just a lot of details that we still need to work out on the implementation.
And if I could help on the CNI side, the companies went through an RFP side for technical assistance vendors. So it'll be the TA vendors that the companies have on under contract, where they can do the full assessments. And as Marissa mentioned, it could be a combination of that, or currently the companies use a third-party vendor for these like heat pump decarbs. Maybe they can expand their role, but that part, the residential, as Marissa said, is still to be determined. But CNI is definitely the technical assistance vendors. And it may end up being them too on the res side, but we just got to lock in the residential side.
Thank you both.
You bet.
Thanks, Kathy. Are there any other questions from the public? All right, hearing none, I would like to move to adjourn. I want to thank everyone for their hard work this year. I wish everyone a happy holiday and a happy new year, and we will see you all on March 19th in 2026.
Thanks, you too as well.
All right.
Great,
Happy
thanks.
holiday.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.